purses that cost more than cars. They may not be the couple or type of relationship that you would endorse, but they aren't married, so it wasn't polygamy. They weren't breaking any laws. They all bought into it. They were consenting adults. And he also went in on these Jane Does. He first said that Kelly always asked any women that he was around, and we did hear that through testimony, how old they were when meeting him. And he says that Kelly vehemently denies having sex with Jane Doe number 4, called her a stalker, a groupie extraordinaire. And he said that Jane Doe number 5, who is someone who has accused the defendant of getting with her when she was 17 years old, says that she had no skills and that living with Kelly was the best type of living that she ever had. And he also questioned Jane Doe number 3, the one who testified that Kelly kept her in a dark room for days, that her rape claims were unfounded because there was no police report or a rape kit. A lot of allegations, but it was clear that he knows this case very well, despite being someone who came into this case later in the prosecution and the continuing of this case. But I think a very compelling job from the defense when you compare the two closing arguments.
I'll start with you. Your reaction to what we heard from the jury today in that note.
You know, I don't know why the jury is taking so long to render a verdict in this case. You know, you got to be clear on what Kelly is being charged with. He's not being charged with statutory rape. Everyone says, oh, he's having sex with young girls or underage girls. He's not being charged with statutory rape. He's not being charged with forceful rape. He's being charged with racketeering, which says that the only reason he has a music career, not because he likes music, the only reason he makes albums and tours is to entice women to have sex with him. That is what a criminal organization is, and it has to be the sole purpose. And he's also charged with violations of the Mann Act. The Mann Act was a group of legislation from 1911 or 10 that was used to prosecute black men for dating white women. One of the famous people who was prosecuted for that was Jack Johnson, the first black heavyweight champion in the world, for having a white girlfriend and driving her across state lines that he was convicted of. And now they've resurrected the Mann Act and are charging R. Kelly with it. So I know people think, yes, he's been with underage women. He may have even drugged them and raped them, but he's not being charged with any of those crimes. He's not being charged with rape of an intoxicated person. He's being charged with racketeering, running a criminal organization. The basis for his music career and his touring was to entice women to have sex with him. And that is an easy question for a jury to answer. There's no evidence that that is the sole reason that he does music. You know, I mean, we didn't indict Hugh Hefner to say that the sole reason he ran the Playboy Mansion was to entice women to have sex with him. So I really think this is a witch hunt.
You know what? But I think that was the reason Hugh Hefner set that whole thing up. Bernarda Villalona, your thoughts about the note sent out by the jury?
So it was a note that I expected. I just didn't expect it so quick. I'm glad, actually, that the exhibits weren't sent back to the jury as soon as they started deliberating, because that note gave us some insight as to what they're focusing on now at the beginning of their deliberations, and that being Sonia's testimony, Jane Doe number 3, as well as that letter about Jane Doe number 5. Specifically about that letter, what insight it gives us is that the jury has some pause about the credibility about Jane Doe number 5 as to, did this really happen? You did send a letter that, well, not sent a letter, but you wrote a letter that he treats you with the utmost respect, that there's nothing going on here. And it goes to the theme that the defense had, that, look, these ladies here, you heard of the show Surviving R. Kelly, but instead what you have here is surviving off of R. Kelly, and that this case is full of lies, full of greed, people that want to make money off of R. Kelly, but that none of this is true. There was some consensual relations. You may think that it's not normal. It may not be your cup of tea, may be too kinky for you, but guess what? That's just how R. Kelly got down, and that's how these ladies wanted to get down with them. So I like the note just for us, for our curiosity, to give us something to think about over the weekend. But you can tell that this jury is looking at both the prosecution's case as well as the cross-examination by defense counsel and their closing arguments.